Well, those who knew Jimmy Carter have shared their personal experiences and interactions with him. Joining us tonight is a special guest, former 10 News anchor Marshall Moore, who had the opportunity to interview the former president. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Mr. Moore, you spoke with President Carter multiple times. We're wondering what brought him to the area, if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yes, this particular time was in September of 1977, so it's been 47 years ago. He was here for a Democratic fundraiser for 3 candidates for high office that year. Henry Howell was running for governor, Ed Lane was running for attorney general, and Chuck Robb for lieutenant governor. Chuck Robb was the only successful candidate of those 3. Howell lost to John Dalton, and Ed Lane lost to Marshall Coleman. But he was here to do some stumping for them and try to get the votes out.
Well, what was your experience? How would you describe his demeanor, his personality?
Very, very nice man. Very gracious, easygoing. He was so atypical for most high-level politicians that you run into. I didn't think of him as having a big ego or anything like that. He was just a good down-home Georgia boy. You know, he just he came across very smoothly, and he seemed like he wanted to do what was best for the country and for the people.
Are there any conversations that stand out to you that you had with him?
None in particular. I think I also got to interview his mother, Miss Lillian, which was a real trip.
Oh, wow.
One thing that I got to talk to a lady a couple of years ago who worked for him at the White House as an IT person. And she told me that his vice president worked very hard to keep him from falling into the Washington trap, the money trap, and that he didn't want him to fall victim to all the things that normally get politicians in Washington, and apparently was successful, because if you follow his career after the White House, it was probably even far more impressive than when he was in office. He just set the standard for what former presidents should do. And I think he learned a lot of that from doing what he thought was best for the country while he was in office.
Well, Mr. Moore, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you sharing your experience interviewing former President Jimmy Carter.